In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 college football games happening on September 23, 2023, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games. So 2 picks for each game, 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 college football games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Miami, Florida versus Temple. The number 20 Miami Hurricanes make the trip to Pennsylvania to take on the Temple Owls on Saturday afternoon at Lincoln Financial Field in a non-conference matchup. The Hurricanes will be hoping to remain undefeated on the season, while the Owls will be looking for their 3rd win of the new season. The Hurricanes have not played the Owls since the 2005 season. Miami has won 13 of 14 meetings dating back to 1930. The Owls are 2-1, but their loss came to their only Power 5 opponent, 36-7 to Rutgers. The Hurricanes are off to a dominant start, 3-0, including a win over the Texas Aggies. Last season, the preseason projections were too high on Miami and they failed to live up to it. This year, it is the opposite problem. People had this team figured to be in the middle of the pack in the Atlantic Coast Conference, but they look like a real contender to this point. Miami is dangerous. This defense is fast. They have been very stingy against lesser opponents, and though the final score doesn't necessarily reflect it, they gave the Aggies a lot of trouble with their speed as well. On the offensive side, this team has lots of weapons. Quarterback Tyler Van Dyke is healthy and has thrown for over 750 yards and 8 scores in 3 games, and Temple probably does not have the horses to deal with this passing attack. For Temple's part, the expectations are low for them this year, and they have not looked very good so far. They will have a quick turnaround before a conference game the following Thursday, and they may see some wisdom in throwing in the towel if this one gets out of hand early. Temple isn't a threat to slow down the Hurricanes' train. The Owls were no match for Rutgers and will have their hands full against the Miami offense. They haven't shown any progress in their quest to improve their run defense, which will also leave them vulnerable against the pass. Van Dyke has passed for 822 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 1 pick this season. His 85.9 quarterback rating is the 5th highest in the nation too. I expect him to have plenty of success on Saturday at Lincoln Financial Field. Warner has shown some exciting flashes, but he's a true sophomore. Without a complimentary ground game, his day could be hectic. The Hurricanes' defensive front has a lot of meat and should be in the Temple quarterback's face a lot. This will help Miami create takeaways, which it needs to do more after picking off only 2 passes in its first 3 games. I just feel that the Hurricanes are heads and shoulders the better team, and even on the road, given last year's struggles, it feels like Miami has adopted a take-no-prisoners approach to their play this season. Temple has been respectable in spots, but if you can get crushed by Rutgers, you can certainly get demolished by Miami, even at home. I see the Hurricanes dominating this game entirely. Even with the large spread on the road, I think Miami is being undervalued here. So the Miami Hurricanes to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. I expect Miami to score plenty of touchdowns on Saturday in Philadelphia, demonstrating an ability to run the football early that will open up its passing game. The Canes are one of the highest scoring teams in the country, and the Owls have to be much better defensively. These teams will combine for 50 or more points, with Miami generating most of the scoring. It's likely Van Dyke will match his previous career high of 5 touchdown passes, if not break it. At some point later in the game, Warner should be able to push the score past the total with a late score or 2 against the Canes reserves. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. Ole Miss versus Alabama. The 15th-ranked Ole Miss Rebels travel to Tuscaloosa on Saturday afternoon to take on the 12th-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. The Rebels are 3-0 on the season as they get set for the Southeastern Conference opener for both teams. The Crimson Tide are 2-1 on the season and have not looked like the dominant team that perennially plays in the college football playoffs each season. What a difference a week makes. This look-ahead line for this game was listed at +11 prior to Week 3, but it quickly crashed in the market and reopened at +7 on Sunday following a dismal performance from Alabama against South Florida. The Crimson Tide shuffled between Tyler Buchner and Ty Simpson at quarterback, and both were absolutely awful, as Alabama finished with -0.52 expected points added per dropback and an explosive play rate of 3%. Alabama only managed to even get to 17 points as it took a late touchdown with under a minute remaining to extend the Crimson Tide lead to 17-3. Jalen Milroe is back as the starting quarterback for this Southeastern Conference opener, but he's also struggled mightily throwing the ball in his first 2 games as the starter this season. Simply put, 4.77 yards per play is not going to cut it against this Ole Miss team. It could be a long day for Nick Saban and company if those struggles continue. The Rebels are 3-0 against the spread this season, and while that record includes a couple of late covers, double-digit wins over an underrated Georgia Tech team and a Tulane side that still could be the best team from the group of 5 move the needle for me. I had serious questions about Ole Miss last fall, particularly at the quarterback position. Well, so far Jackson Dart has dispelled those questions, improving his accuracy and downfield passing by leaps and bounds while still remaining an extremely dangerous runner with the football. The supporting cast is loaded, with Quinshon Judkins at running back and a pair of dynamic receivers in Jordan Watkins and Dayton Wade. Lane Kiffin has this offense humming, with Ole Miss sitting at 8th in expected points added per play, 7th in expected points added per game, 11th in yards per play, and 19th in success rate. Conversely, Alabama isn't even in the top 50 in any of those metrics, and the Crimson Tide are 101st in passing success rate. It won't help that this defense is opportunistic and strong against the run, coming in at 11th in expected points added per game and 29th in rushing success rate. The stage may finally be set for Lane Kiffin to finally upend his mentor, Nick Saban, on Saturday afternoon. Ole Miss comes into this matchup 3-0 with a balanced offense and a quarterback in Jackson Dart who is playing his best football. He is the perfect complement to Kiffin's style of offense with his ability to run and throw the ball with equal effectiveness. Meanwhile, Saban is now making yet another change at quarterback as he returns to Milroe under center. Milroe has the tools to be a star with a big arm and excellent mobility, but has looked unsure in the pocket in his 2 starts this season, often looking to run before letting the play develop. Ole Miss defense is far more susceptible to the pass than the run, but Milroe may not have the patience to take advantage of that. Bama's defense has looked very good against the 2 inferior opponents they've met this season, Middle Tennessee and South Florida, but were dominated by Texas at home. Kiffin has the chance to be the second straight Saban protege to upend their former boss this season and looks to have the tools to do so. I'm genuinely concerned with Alabama right now, and while the moniker of the least talented Alabama team in years isn't the worst title given the talent Alabama seems to reload with year after year, it's created a set of expectations I'm worried this year's team can't live up to. Ole Miss is always a threat to Alabama, and Lane Kiffin takes these games personally as a former assistant of Nick Saban's. This is a situation where we would have gotten a much better number a week ago, but I'm still unfazed by the line move. The market is still making Alabama a 4-point favorite on a neutral field, and I just don't see it with an offensive line and quarterback that have been nothing but uninspiring for 3 weeks. 7 points is too much for this particular Alabama team to give up with far more questions than answers associated with the team heading into this one. Expect this game to be decided by a field goal and possibly go to overtime. Ole Miss has a real shot to pull the upset, so the Ole Miss Rebels to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Kiffin certainly knows that his best chance to win this game will be to put up big numbers against the Crimson Tide, figuring that their inconsistent offense will not be able to keep up. Ole Miss has scored a low of 37 points this season and will try to put the pressure on Alabama's offense by forcing them to match them point for point. Don't discount Alabama's ability to score here as well. Ole Miss defense is ranked just 89th in the country and has struggled against the pass. Alabama quarterback Milroe had a week to sit out and watch the offense from the sideline and should be highly motivated to produce. I have no doubts about whether Ole Miss can contribute to this total. After all, Kiffin's offense is dialed in and just sailed over this total with a 48-point outburst against Georgia Tech. This followed a 37-point effort against Tulane that did feature a defensive touchdown. But a mere 31 points should still be more than enough to get this over across the finish line. It's the Alabama side of things that worries me here, but you have to figure that Milroe at least somewhat learned from his errors in the Texas game and will be delighted to play a defense that won't generate nearly the same amount of pressure on the quarterback. If Milroe is given time by his offensive line, he can do damage with the deep ball or generate momentum-building explosive plays with his legs. There are avenues for both teams to score here, so even as we've cleared the key number of 55, I have no reason to think there won't be plenty of explosive plays throughout this game. Expect Milroe to exploit Ole Miss defense down the field with his big-time arm. This one should be a high-scoring affair. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. UTSA versus Tennessee. The Tennessee Volunteers slid in the rankings this week after losing at the Florida Gators yet again. 10 straight trips to Florida have ended in defeat for this Tennessee football program, as 2003 was the last time the Volunteers won a road game against the Florida Gators, and now Tennessee fans are hoping their team can take out some of the frustrations from last week out on their next opponent after the Volunteers opened up as minus 20.5-point home favorites this week. The lucky team on the other side of that point spread happens to be the Texas San Antonio Roadrunners, who happened to be coming off an outright loss as favorites last week as well. UTSA was without their starting quarterback Frank Harris in last week's 37-29 home loss to Army, as his absence was widely expected in the betting market. Once word got out that Harris was likely on the shelf, UTSA went from a double-digit home favorite versus Army to a team that closed at -7 for a game they'd ultimately lose by a single score. It was the first time in 36 games that Harris didn't suit up under center for UTSA, and his status remains uncertain for this week's game, although it has been hinted that UTSA might not send a wounded Harris into the buzzsaw that Tennessee expects to bring to this game. That being said, the 4.7 rush yards per attempt Tennessee put up this year should result in multiple first downs each and every drive if they stick with a run-heavy approach. And why wouldn't they? The Volunteers have a clear edge in that area, have plenty of frustrations to release after last week, and could end up playing bully ball here against a team that's missing their starting quarterback and playing a replacement making his first ever start on the road. Too many things could go right for Tennessee in this spot even if they aren't all they've been cracked up to be this season. Even a subpar Volunteers squad should be able to fail upwards in this type of scenario. If Tennessee isn't all that good, obviously worrying about UTSA sneaking through the backdoor for a cover is a minor concern. But again, the coach has already stated that his team is looking at this game a little differently. Last week's loss will be a wake-up call for the Volunteers. Add in a Roadrunners team that has already been struggling, and this game will be an easy Tennessee win. It'll begin with a Tennessee run game averaging over 200 yards per game up against a UTSA defense that just got bullied in the trenches by Army. Tennessee has the personnel to do the same thing. On the other side of the ball, UTSA isn't the elite school that they were last year, especially not through the air. That regression, coupled with a Tennessee secondary that's been sturdy, will keep the Roadrunners off the scoreboard often. UTSA will struggle to stay in the game once they fall behind. The Roadrunners' focus is on conference play when it begins in 2 weeks for them, and this is almost a show-up-and-get-the-check type game for the little school here. Not a team I'd be expecting to fight through much adversity to sneak through a back door. Tennessee is a program that still won 11 straight home games, going 8-3 against the spread in that span, and have plenty of positives in terms of the situation scenario angles coming into this game that they are the clear only against the spread choice on Saturday. So the Tennessee Volunteers to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. I have to believe that after scoring just 16 points a week ago, this Volunteers offense is in for a much bigger day this week. Last year, Tennessee only scored fewer than 20 points once, 27-13 loss at Georgia, and they put up 66 points the following week in a win over Missouri when the line closed Tennessee minus 18.5 and had a total of 57.5 points. That's exactly where the total sits for this week's game as of the making of this video, and the point spread is in the same general vicinity as well. That's not to say another 60+ is coming, but with little motivation to provide plenty of resistance for that UTSA defense, another game of 40+ points should be in the cards for the Volunteers. Remember, the first road start for Marburger is likely worth at least one full turnover, and if that turns into quick points the other way, a high-scoring affair is off and running. UTSA will have to at least pull some weight as well, and Marburger showed enough last week to think that he'll be able to lead his team on a few marches down the field. Yes, he got lucky with the touchdown pass at the end of the first half last week, but the throw showed off his arm talent, and with only one game of film on him out there, he and the Roadrunners offense do benefit from the element of surprise as well. Tennessee isn't the powerhouse on offense that they were last year, but they're still scoring over 30 points per game. UTSA just allowed 37 at home to a military school. Facing a strong Southeastern Conference offense in their house should be much worse. Don't be surprised if the Volunteers flirt with 50. As for the Roadrunners, they've put up at least 17 in all 3 of their games. Tennessee is missing a starter on defense and has allowed at least 13 in each of their contests. UTSA will get at least 13, with a strong shot to exceed 20. Getting into the 20s is a reasonable expectation for UTSA here, as even in a close game where the Roadrunners have a shot to win, 30+ points is likely going to be needed from the victory. Just too many more ways I see this game playing out that brings 60+ points. Over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.